Okay, so I am here with Eddie. He's in the background here. Our right-hand person. Okay, so I wanted to do this video. It's a 1-year anniversary, Eddie. Is that what it is? Yeah, we've been. So for those of you who know, a year ago today, Eddie made that point. We had to research it a little bit, right? We weren't sure if it was the 11th, the 13th. So after a little bit of research, we found out. Eddie found it. There you go. Hey, Angel's on here. Our loyal black belt Angel. We found out, it was the 12th. So today, and I remember that, we were watching the news, and let's get Eddie in the video here too. I just move the seat there. So, just move your seat over here. Yeah, don't worry about it. We just moved in here mid-February, and it was a big move for us. We were all kind of excited. It was happy time. They had a bigger facility. Here's a facility right here if you want to kind of take a look-see. It was pretty spacious, and we prettied it up even more since we moved in a year ago. So yeah, we were excited. We did very well, right? We had a lot of business. Everything started to grow, and times were good. Things were looking good, and then the whole COVID thing started happening, and then we saw they were starting to close little by little, and then we said maybe they'll skip Florida, and then we saw Florida had a problem, and then the county started closing, the schools closed, and then on the 12th, the Homestead ordered us to close, and it was rough because overnight we lost half the students, right? Half of them didn't come in, and so we had to immediately pivot and switch to virtual, and to do that. Now, I've been on Zoom for years. I did seminars with Zoom and stuff like that. And I was used to 1 hour, twice a week, we would do a Zoom meeting with a client or something in another industry. And that's what Zoom was used for. It's like a webinar. Maybe you do a 1 hour webinar on this time of the week. But it wasn't really intended for 3 to 5 hours a day, And so we had to quickly adapt, and I was familiar with Zoom, and I was kind of fortunate in that sense. So the next week, about a week, right? About a week, or a little more, yeah, about a week. And then we had to kind of come up with a plan. So Eddie said, okay, we got to get videos now, which we had to film, which we're going to do in a minute here. It's Friday. We had to film, and we kept that actually as part of the plan. I'll tell you about that later in the video. We filmed every Friday, put it up on a platform called Teachable. Told everybody, here's the videos we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do a warm-up while you guys are at home. So we really had to think hard about how to do this, because it was either I could roll over and die, or we could find a way to make this work. And I did not want to roll over and die. I just moved in here, and I think Eddie picked this place, right? It's Eddie picked this place, by the way. I had another place in mind. I had my heart on it. But then we went to this one. I wasn't really feeling it because I tried for 7 years. And Eddie was the one like, I like this one. And it's like, all right, fine. I'll think about it. And it turned out to be a good move. And then, COVID happened. Right? COVID happened. And then, so, we adapted very quickly. And it was kind of disheartening because there was Eddie on one side of the studio and I was on the other mat. And I had my Zoom class. He had his Zoom class. And we're in this big, beautiful facility with all this equipment and we can't use it. It was kind of sad because, here it is, we're approaching April because we thought it'd be 2 weeks. So we thought, okay, April, and I thought it'd be April 30th. And we're still in this facility and doing Zoom classes. And even on Zoom, we started noticing a few things. And it was hard to do a lot of the other stuff. Now, fitness wasn't that hard. When we did our fitness classes, it was actually fairly easy to do on Zoom. And a lot of people had their own equipment, so it worked out pretty good. But the kids were hard. They were tough to teach, and you couldn't do sparring, obviously, so that was out. You couldn't do, they didn't have bags or equipment. They had to pretend. There was a lot of air kickboxing, and we started noticing, that we were getting a drop-off. People were just frustrated. They just weren't happy, and you adopted to survive and be, yeah, that's what it's about, right? We have to survive and be successful. And we got to week 4, and I sat with Eddie, and I said, I don't think there's a way to continue this without losing everything, because virtual training is only supposed to be a temporary thing, maybe once in a blue. It's not meant for a continuous thing. And so we decided that once things were allowing us to open. We found the laws, we checked into it. We opened it was May 12th. It was mid-May almost. Yeah, we opened 2 weeks before everybody. Everyone else wanted to open June 1st. We opened May 12th. I remember that. It was like middle of the month. So we did that, and then it was Memorial Day after that, so we didn't open that week. But and we started teaching, and it was slow, right? Because everyone was a little lost. Yeah. They were on Zoom for so long, and that 6 weeks doesn't seem like a lot, but when the schools are saying there was a learning lag and kids who didn't come in person are having learning issues, it's true. I noticed it with my students, adults and kids, when they started coming in for physical training, it took a while to catch them up. Even though they had a lot of core skills, the other skills were not there. And we had to reiterate those and start over. So it was a slow start. June was pretty slow, and then remember the governor kind of went crazy and just like lightened up everything. Hey, we're open, and then our cases shot up, and then we were scared because we almost got shut down again in July. And when I saw that happen, and I considered that I may have to close in about July. I thought it was going to happen. I said, I don't think we can continue this if we're shut down again. And I saw the reaction of Eddie and Dusty. And by the way, even though Dusty couldn't come in here and our income was reduced, I paid Eddie and Dusty every week, right? Still paid them because I did not want to get out of the habit of that this is something that's coming back. I still did work on the floors. I still did remodeling. I still worked with my landlord. I had to think we're coming back. I didn't think of that. But there was in July, I thought we were going to be closed down for good. I thought that was going to happen and it's not going to recover. The caseloads was super high. I thought they were going to come in and shut us down and then we were going to go to a second lockdown. And thankfully that didn't happen. Gyms and businesses, similar to gyms, were allowed to stay open. So we got very lucky on that. And, we pushed. And I think about, September? Maybe October started to really turn around for us. Yeah, I got busy. Yeah, it took a little while. And then I think right now we're like one of the busiest schools in Homestead. And, we decided, the reason I cited this, I said, going back to what we had, we have to accept it's never coming. I went through so many disasters. Like if you remember the 2007 disaster, the financial disaster, that changed everything too. And I wanted so bad to have what I had before. I wanted to be the same school. And that actually set me back 2 years. It was like, that ruined my relationships, that ruined my love life, that ruined a lot of things. My family life, everything got ruined because I had this mindset, I must have what I had before. And you have to realize sometimes those things are gone and you have to adapt to what's new and you have to grow into something better. When I accepted that, I actually had to close one school and then reopen the other one. So when I went through COVID, I remember what I did last time in 2007. And I said, well, what that was is gone. I'm not going to try and bring back what I had before. I'm going to try and evolve into something new. So we changed things up a bit. We did a lot more. We brought back some old things like forms. That was like fun for people to do because they were short and easy to learn. And it also taught, I think forms helped with those kids who were on Zoom for so long because now they have to kind of focus and move. And so we kind of brought some small forms back, not too major, big forms, real classical kind of straight forms, something that's easy to remember and they can practice a lot of. So we brought that back and people enjoyed it. We couldn't do wrestling. We couldn't do the grappling. So we researched that we could still spar. So we enhanced sparring. We gave more sparring opportunities for people. And they started to get better at sparring. And now that things are getting a little easier with everything, we started to bring back what we call hosensul, or personal protection, being grabbed in the arms and the shirts. Not quite grappling, but close. Because we look at the safety restrictions. So we started bringing back some old stuff and make a new spin on it for the new world. And started saying, this is how it works. They don't teach you this in traditional karate, or they don't know this part of it. And I had that knowledge, and I didn't really bring it out for years because I didn't think anyone wanted to do it. But I decided, we're going to evolve it into something else. And I think that's what's been helping us, right? Because now it's something new and fresh, but it's really old stuff. And I see, and I'm not putting down any other schools. I won't say names or their initials. Anyway, Eddie's trying to hold his laugh in. I think what I see is a lot of schools are trying to stay where they were before. They want their, let's say for example, after school pickup. Or they want like to go back to those open karate tournaments, which they aren't there yet. And the way I look at it is, it's about, oh, hi Miss Hernandez, it's Allison's mom on the call. Hi to Allison. I know she's going to nail her review next week. Always a little spunky kid, right? So I see them trying to do what they did pre-pandemic, and I see that mistake that the mistakes I did before. And I've accepted that it's something new now. Every time something happens, it's a new world. You have to adapt to it and you grow. It's what martial arts teaches us, right? It teaches us to be adaptive, to grow. You know, sometimes martial arts get outdated for a while and you have to update them. You have to kind of think, okay, we don't use spears anymore, so what can we use this defense against? And then you kind of apply it and it changes and alters. And I see, that's the thing, I see some guys who did like real classical weapon arts. And it's like the spear defense. You're grabbing the spear and you're doing this. But they get offended because like Krav Maga does a similar defense for a rifle. Okay, but the hands are closer and stuff, and they get pissed off because they say, oh no, the hand's supposed to be here. I said, well, if it was a spear or a staff, but we don't use spears and staffs. People use guns or they use other weapons like knives, so the hands have to change a little bit. And little does anyone know, Aikido, the wrist locks that they do in Aikido are really based off grabbing a sword, like disarming a sword. A lot of people don't know that. But you can adapt it to a modern thing. They started to adapt it to different weapons. And the purists, sometimes they don't want to let go. And that's the problem. You have to let go and move on, because that's how relationships grow, people grow, things grow, and arts grow. So, you know, that's pretty much it, right? That was the whole year in wrap. A hell of a year. Yeah. You thought we were going to close down at one point?
I just had faith.
You had faith? Yeah. Yeah. When I saw how it affected him, and if you know Miss Dusty, it's hard to read her sometimes. And she was even saying, okay, I understand. She said on the phone. I didn't know how to read that. And then like when I talked to her, like, say, oh, thank God, because I didn't know where I was going to get a job. I didn't know that. It was really, you know, it's just, I didn't know if I wouldn't see these people. How are we going to meet each other? And, you know, it really affected me that, you know, how much it meant to the staff, everybody. So that's the reason why I kept pushing into it and kept going. So now we're here, and then Miss Allison, Nancy's on the phone. Is like, that's how we got to meet them and all these new people. Like the students that aren't here anymore, the ones that stayed, you know, we appreciate they stayed and really pushed with us. And those who aren't here, you know, they had their reasons for leaving. And I'm not going to like trash talk or bad talk them. Everyone does what they do, but it gave us the opportunity to meet new people and guide them in the new direction that we have in our studio and how strong it's going to be. And it will be strong. It's always going to be strong. Okay, so that's it. We got a film for next week's classes. Remember, it's belt review for you martial artists, kickboxers. I'm going to give you some hard warm-ups, so we'll see you there. All right, have a good one.